Jay-Z new video with Nas and DJ Khaled is a scene with checkerboards. These are all occult Satanists.
It was supposed to be just another day in court, but when the gavel struck, the music industry shook. A secret son, a billion-dollar judgment, and whispers of underage scandals. Jay-Z's carefully crafted empire now hangs by a thread. At the heart of it all, a $1.6 billion courtroom bombshell that could rip through Rock Nation, drag Beyonce into the crossfire, and rewrite the legacy of hip-hop's most untouchable mogul.
I don't have no felonies, I'm not crazy or none of that. It's like, I just want the truth, and it's so hard to get it from the courts. And it seems like Jay-Z don't want to say anything. So, I don't want to see him go down for something that you could have just got taken care of. That's it.
It was the kind of ruling no one thought would ever see daylight. After years of whispers, lawsuits, and evasions, the unthinkable happened. Rahmir, a man who has spent decades insisting he is Jay-Z's biological son, walked out of a courtroom with the kind of victory that doesn't just make headlines, it makes history. A staggering $1.6 billion judgment. Not a quiet settlement behind sealed doors, not an NDA buried in fine print, but a legal earthquake that rattled the very foundations of Jay-Z's empire. For a mogul who built his brand on untouchability, this wasn't just a loss. It was a humiliation broadcast to the world.
No, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
Even for a billionaire, $1.6 billion is no small wound. That figure cuts deep, and it doesn't heal quickly. It's more than an expensive bill. It's a wrecking ball aimed straight at Rock Nation, at streaming investments, at tour revenues, and liquor ventures. Suddenly, the empire that seemed immune to scandal looked fragile, almost mortal. And in the court of public opinion, this wasn't just about money. It was about power, credibility, and the illusion of invincibility. If the man who once sold hustler survival as his origin story could be cornered like this, what else could come crashing down next?
We recorded a demo, we sent it to a few labels, and Def Jam was the first label to call back, so I had to go meet with Jay-Z, and he was impressed by the audition and sang me, and that's where it all began.
Behind the closed doors of Marble Mansions, another story was unfolding. Beyonce, the global icon whose brand rests on flawlessness, discipline, and polish, was now forced to stare down the ugliest scandal of her career. The whispers say she's furious, not just at the judgment, but at the sheer chaos it drags into her world. For years, she stood beside Jay-Z through storms, calculated and precise, turning even marital betrayal into a carefully staged redemption arc with Lemonade. But this isn't a rumor or an affair. This is a court-certified billion-dollar humiliation tied to allegations stretching back to when the mother of his alleged son was underage.
Beyonce for sure. I love her. I love Beyonce. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both of them.
The ultimatum has reportedly already been delivered. Fix this before the fallout becomes uncontainable, or she reconsiders the foundation of their marriage. For Beyonce, the stakes are existential. Her name alone powers industries: music, fashion, film, luxury partnerships. She's not just a singer, she's a brand, one so valuable that even a whiff of scandal can rattle investors and shake confidence in billion-dollar tours. Standing by Jay-Z now means aligning herself with a man dragged into headlines about secret children, courtroom battles, and underage allegations. Walking away too soon could make her appear cold, opportunistic, even disloyal. Either choice carries risk, and that risk is multiplying by the day. If Rahmir's victory cracked the dam, the floodwaters are already rising. Old names, long dismissed as gossip, are back in circulation. Chief among them, Latham Zur, a Maryland woman who has claimed for years that she is Jay-Z's daughter. For most of her life, her claims were brushed aside as rumor, an inconvenient story ignored by the man at the center of it. But now, with Rahmir proving that persistence and the courts can tilt the impossible into reality, Layda's camp is said to be buzzing with new confidence. Her story is haunting, growing up in a small town where everyone allegedly whispered about her father's identity, watching her mother struggle with illness, shouldering the burden of raising siblings while keeping a secret that burned in the background. More explosive still are whispers that Jay-Z may have quietly supported her in private, allegedly buying her a home in Cambridge and covering expenses under strict conditions, including a ban on publicly displaying his photo. If any of this is proven, the narrative shifts dramatically. It's no longer about one reluctant father. It becomes a pattern of denial, hush money, and hidden arrangements, each one casting a darker shadow over the mogul's legacy. The impact isn't just personal. The empire Jay-Z built is cracking under pressure. Roc Nation, once hailed as a powerhouse in music and sports management, now carries the stench of uncertainty. Investors don't like instability, and luxury brands despise scandal. Whispers are growing louder. Endorsement deals paused. Marketing campaigns scrubbed. Boardrooms holding emergency calls. Tidal, his ambitious streaming venture, was already struggling to compete against giants like Spotify and Apple. Now, with his name plastered across scandal headlines, its future looks even more uncertain. Then there's Douce Cognac, a venture that once symbolized Jay-Z's golden touch. Alcohol is a business driven by image, lifestyle, and credibility. But when the face of your brand is fighting billion-dollar paternity judgments, the gloss wears off quickly. Corporate partners begin to ask questions, shareholders begin to calculate exit strategies, and the scent of desperation can tank valuations faster than any competitor ever could. Suddenly, the man who seemed untouchable is looking like a liability. What's just as telling as the judgment itself is the silence that followed. In an industry where statements fly fast and loyalty is often performative, the hush around Jay-Z's scandal is deafening. Rihanna, one of Roc Nation's crown jewels, has remained quiet. Kanye West, who has swung between being Jay-Z's brother and bitter rival, hasn't said a word. Even longtime collaborators have retreated into studied silence, as if waiting to see which way the wind blows. But not everyone is holding back. 50 Cent, never one to miss a chance to jab at a rival, has taken swipes at Jay-Z's refusal to take DNA tests, turning the paternity scandal into a meme-fueled spectacle. His taunts aren't just mockery, they're signals. They tell the industry that Jay-Z is vulnerable, that the aura of invincibility shielding him for decades is wearing thin, and in a business where perception is power, that vulnerability is contagious. Behind the silence lies something more unsettling, the entertainment elite's unspoken code. Protect your own, don't set precedents. Because if Jay-Z can fall this hard, what stops the next scandal from pulling someone else down with him? The silence may not be loyalty at all. It may be fear, self-preservation, and the grim understanding that a collapsing empire has the power to drag others into the rubble.